You want to get started cold approaching girls in the street now in 2026? This is going to be the video for you. Even if you are a beginner and you want to start getting those first results, you want to start getting the first dates, the ball rolling, this is the video for you. Now, why am I saying this? Because, by the way, you have thousands of other videos on YouTube of day game infields, of pickup coaches. You have a lot of faceless channels there, right? Talking about Machiavelli's seduction principles, blah, blah, blah. Why is this video more important for you? Because I didn't take 10 years to master dating. Okay? In the last 2 years, I've gone from complete hopeless inexperience. I didn't insert anything in any girl to now 2 years later. Here you have my stats that I'm going to share in my screen now. So as you can see here, this has been updated on the 23rd of May 2026. So basically, a couple of weeks ago, I still need to re-update because I've gone on more dates now. Total dates that I've gone on, 411 dates, okay, with 202 different girls. This has gone viral sometimes on Twitter because people think the other ones are men. No, it's all girls, but some of them I've gone on 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 dates, and some of them just one date, okay? I kissed 123 of them, and I slept with 53 of them, okay? These are the dates that come from day game / cold approach, okay? Online game, which is mostly Instagram game and dating apps, and night game dates. As you can see, most of my results come from cold approaching girls in the street. I've done approximately 3,500 approaches in the last couple of years, okay? Now, this video is not going to be edited. It's going to be just a conversation between me, about the things that I've done and got me the results. Because let me warn you, gentlemen, the first 700 approaches, because as you can see here, my first ever day game lay, so cold approach, success, intimacy with a girl that I met in the street, was the 9th of April 2024 at 8:30. Well, actually success would be like probably 11 or 11:30, which is where when I inserted, but this was the first ever day game lay, okay? But I started cold approaching in, I think, January, February 2024, right? So it took me around 4 months to get my first intimacy result, which were 700 approaches, okay? Of course, I went on quite a few dates with those 700 approaches, but I wasn't converting anything. I was failing at escalating physically. I didn't know what to say. I was too nice. I was struggling to get the dates too. I was struggling to, text with the girls. I didn't know how to do it, blah, 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 right? So this video is going to feel raw, and I'm going to tell you what I would do now, starting in 2026. So here I have my notebook. You probably cannot see this, so it's not very smart that I'm, drawing it here, but it helps me. So the first thing that's obvious is your sexual market value, right? Improve the way you look. Now, the mistake most people make here is telling you focus on that first, right? The same with your mindset. Focus on your mindset first. But that actually gets you in the, vicious cycle of consuming YouTube content, of reading books before approaching. Because you think, okay, I need to have the mindset right before approaching. I need to have my sexual market value right before approaching. And that's a mistake. In my experience, what I did, and the reason why I've gone so fast and gotten these results in so little time, is because I forced myself to do the hard parts first and feel the pain of not getting the girls. That's what I did, okay? So basically, I went in the street, I was not groomed, anything. I didn't buy any new clothes. I didn't have any idea what to say to the girl. Back then, I was just focusing on my own business, right? Which I'm still doing now, by the way. But that was like the main thing back then. So I just went to talk to girls in the street. Initially, and we're going to talk over this now, I started approaching girls indirectly to make things easier. But in any case, I was not seeing any results, and most of the girls were rejecting me, right? So that made me feel pain. And with that pain, I'm fueling now the learning of, let's systemize this. Let's see what other people are doing. Let's see what style should I be wearing, right? So let's see what mindset or what things should I study, what theory should I study, because I'm already taking action. I'm seeing it's not working, right? I'm feeling the pain of the rejections. By the way, I was not emptying my liquids, basically, right? Which, by the way, it's a main driver for you, and I highly, 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 I recommend you don't do any of this, okay? You don't watch any content that you imagine what content it is. You don't empty your liquids, right? So you're going to have a lot of motivation, and you're going to need day game and cold approaching to work, okay? Otherwise, it's just, it's okay, I like it, but I don't really need it, because, every day or every or 2 times a week, you are still emptying your liquids to feel good. So you don't have the urgency. And the urgency is the key thing here. Gentlemen, we are now in the times of AI, right? We have no idea, really, what's going to happen in the next year, next 2 years, next 10 years. What's happening and what's history has shown us in the last decades is the top guys that know what they're doing and are positioning the right way, they are getting most of the girls. And it's going that way more, right? So you need to get out of your current situation as soon as possible. Because who knows, maybe there is no more girlfriends in 10 years. I don't know. Right, so anyways, what were we talking about there? First, take action. Call approaching the girls in the street. With that pain, now you fuel your learning, your systems. By the way, you have the full North system completely for free. First link on description. You can just read it. It's a PDF with images of the proof of the girls that I've been with, and sharing basically what I'm going to be sharing in this video, but in a more structured way. Okay. So that's the first thing. Take action. Now, regarding taking action, you can do it directly or indirectly. Now, ideally, you want to approach girls directly, basically telling them, that you found them attractive in different ways, right? Not just saying you're cute, but usually recommend saying something a bit more specific. You are suspiciously innocent. You are, absolutely beautiful. You could have a bit of a, intensifier, right? Or something that makes her wonder. So you are not like the other cold approachers approaching this girl. In the case that you live in a city, for example, like Warsaw, that has many cold approaches, right? So that would be the first thing. The thing is, most of us are not ready to approach girls directly when we start approaching girls. It's just not the way it is, okay? So what I suggest, approach indirectly. But at least don't do the directions thing. Don't ask for directions. Everyone knows now. You have phone. Like, why would you do directions? So what I suggest, what I did, and that's what everything that I'm sharing with you here, gentlemen, is based on my own experience. So basically what I did, I went on jewelry stores, right, in Madrid, Spain, which is where I'm from. Like Primark. That's like a huge store, but it has like a jewelry section. And I was literally there, waiting. And every time a hot girl came in, I would just, get some courage in and ask this girl for a jewelry recommendation. Because, I was about to buy jewelry for my cousin that, coincidentally had the same hair as this girl. So that's why I was asking her for female opinion, female advice on what jewelry should I buy for my cousin. Right? So that's how I got started. And then the first times I just did that and I didn't get any contact. I didn't try even. I was so scared to try. At some point I said, man, we cannot continue this way. So let's just try to turn this into a, contact or Instagram. So basically at the end of she giving me the recommendation for my cousin, I would just ask her, oh, by the way, do you have Instagram? Which is, the problem with this, gentleman, is it's not genuine, right? The girls know that you just wanted to talk to her not because of the cousin. You just liked her and you are asking for her Instagram now, right? So this doesn't come off as genuine. It just comes off as you didn't have enough balls to ask and tell her that you liked her directly, right? So yeah, I did this for the first 30 or 40 approaches. I still recommend this if you are struggling to approach directly, which is realistic, okay? So yeah, you can do this this way. You will feel the pain of, I'm not coherent with my message, so let me just go direct straight. So that's the first thing, gentlemen. Get in the street or in the mall or wherever around your area and start getting the reps in, okay? Now, there are many people telling you doing the warm-ups. Just say 5 things to a guy in the street walking to the day game location, right? Say, hey man, I like your jacket. Hey man, does this work for you? It could. I didn't do it. I just want to get straight to the point. I don't have much time. and I want to get these girls. Okay, so that's that. Now, once you have this experience, once you have the pain, I'm feeling the pain of not getting these girls. I'm trying to approach her, and they are kind of rejecting me, and I'm not getting the numbers, and the numbers that I'm getting are not turning into anything. Then you start thinking about how you do the system, what things you wear, how to improve your style, how to improve your sexual market value, what's the mindset behind the approach, what things should you say, you shouldn't say, what's your body language. So let me just drop some game here for you, gentlemen. When you are cold approaching girls in the street, or even in the dates, the most important thing is not what you say, is how you say it, right? Which is your body language, eye contact, your sexual intensity in the way you are looking at her, your smile or smirk, and your vocal tone. Those are the important things, right? Now, where most men get this wrong is for you to focus on your body language, right? On how you are. Let's say I'm with the girl here, right? I mean, the microphone is here, but imagine you're approaching a girl like this. Hey, or now you're a bit more relaxed. You are a bit laying, a bit like this, and you even have your feet pointing at another direction, and the girl is here, right? And you're just like this, right? You look at her a bit. Compare that to just being a bit like this and being like very fidgety, right? Anyways, the point that I'm trying to make is there are many things, right? Like the body language, eye contact, sexual intensity, smile, vocal tone, and you need to focus on those things. The problem is, how can you focus on those things if you don't know what you're going to say, right? And that's where, I completely disagree with all of these, coaches that say you need to be genuine, just say what comes to mind, do situational openers, because that's more natural. Man, let's be realistic. If I have to be thinking when I have my balls here when I'm going to approach a girl, right? Talking 2 years ago when I was going to approach a girl, like how would I now be thinking about the situational opener? Like I don't want to do that. The most important thing is the body language and the non-verbal communication. So I don't want to be thinking on what I'm going to say. And even let's say you are following a girl for 1.5 minutes, and then you come up with a brilliant situational opener. Let's say you approach her, right? Now the conversation just opens. Now you have to conversate with her for whatever time, and it's not just one thing you have to think of. You have to think of all of the next things, right? So even if you are able to say your opening message good because you thought about it for 1 minute, and you have a nice body language, then you have no idea what you're going to say next, because each conversation could go each way. So what's going to happen is you're going to get in your head again, and you are not going to be focusing on your body language, which is the most important thing, the non-verbal communication, as I said. Okay? That's why I am a big proponent, especially for rational men, right? Man, that we are a bit nerdy, that we like things simple, that we like systems, that we like structures. I recommend having a script. Yeah, man, but if you have a script, you are not going to be natural because... Man, are you worried about being natural, or are you worried about getting girls? Like, let's be honest here. Anyways, so I came up with a script, okay? And that's how it started, this thing that I'm telling you. That's the lesson that I learned. I came up with a script, and that script I've, developed, and I've changed many things, right? Which, by the way, again, you can just go in the first link in the description and you can check everything there. I think I also made a YouTube video about it, or if not, I will make it. But yeah. Anyways, you need to have a script so then you can focus on the non-verbal communication, right? Which is what's actually going to move the needle forward, of course, with the sexual market value optimization and with, understanding the mindset, the basics, all of these things. Now, there are many things that, of course, you can improvise. You can freestyle, absolutely, right? But the thing is, most of us, especially if you don't have any reference experiences, especially if you have not gone on any dates yet, or you are going on very little dates and you're approaching very little girls, meaning little number of girls, right? In that case, you don't have, enough reference experiences yet. Does that make sense? to know exactly what, the next thing you can say and still be comfortable with your body language, with your eye contact. So that would be the first thing. Do your approaches this way, get a script, then you will get the mindset aspect of it from your experience, and of course, studying the right things, the right systems. Okay, now let's go into the texting. Well, the volume. How much should you do? As you can see, this video doesn't have like a full structure, but everything is going to be, clear at the end of the video, if you stay with me. So, by the way, most people cannot stay long for these like long videos because attention spans are now like fried. But if you're here, gentlemen, props to you. Let's continue. So we were moving into the text. No, how much approaches, right? Volume. Now there are many people here saying don't spam approach, and that's right and wrong at the same time. Okay. I think if you are committing to improving and to changing things, approach a lot. Okay. Now the problem comes with guys that clearly are not getting any results with the script, with their body language, with their style, and that is approaching 40-50 girls a day, and that could be spam approaching. Now, if I was doing, let's say for example, in the day that I approached the most girls in my life have been 57 girls in one day, and it was in Poland. Now that day I think I got 22 contact details from 57 approaches, which is quite nice. If I'm getting that number of contact details, if I'm feeling good, by the way, this was like over an 8-hour approaching session, right? If I'm feeling this good, why would I stop just for the sake of not being a spam approacher? Let's just be honest and let's be realistic. If you are getting good results and you are approaching girls that you like every day and they seem to be, somehow interested, why wouldn't you approach more if you have the time? Let's be realistic, especially if you are, burning because you haven't emptied your liquids, right? That's realistic. Now, I understand that some people may say, yeah, but that burns cities, blah, blah, blah. I understand that. It also depends on what's your commitment to it, right? And what's your pain point. I've done this. That's why I've gotten this amount of results in 2 years, because I have approached quite a bit. Now I don't approach that much. I approach very little because now I'm way more selective, right? So that's that. Volume, start, let's do 10 approaches a week. You can do that. By the way, we have a private community with the full course and everything. And we have accountability from day 1 to day 90. And we have the weekly accountability requirement, which is the weekly accountability requirement. And we talk about the steps by steps there. But let's do 10 approaches, okay? 10 approaches a week. And initially, they can be indirect. But the approaches only count if you are conveying and you are telling the girl your intention. Basically, or you are making it man-to-woman vibe, which is saying that she's cute or she's beautiful or something like that. So even if you start with the jewelry thing, then you want to turn it into getting the Instagram or getting the contact detail, right? That would count. But if you're just saying, hey, what's the day today, or what's the weather, and what's the direction to go to this place, that doesn't count, okay? So you can start with that, but then you have to turn it into, by the way, I think you're cute, let's exchange Instagrams, blah, blah, okay? Then that counts. Start with 10 a week, and then you can pump it up, okay? Now we have the step 3, which is the texting. So what do you send to the girls? What do you do? For here, again, you want a system, okay? I don't want to be thinking of what I'm saying to each girl every time, especially when I'm getting this amount of numbers, right? So I just have my own personal album of photos that are called pings, P-I-N-G-S, and they have text in them already. So I just have to copy, paste in each chat, and I send it to a girl, right? Now, what are these photos about? So these are windows to my life, basically, right? For example, if I'm boxing, or if I am working, or if I'm doing something, you can just send her the photo with text in it. For example, finish punching the bag, and you just send her a photo with that, right? Now, in some of the questions, in some of the photos, you can include a question: what about you? What are you doing? Right? So that sparks the conversation. It's not grown to ask questions, but I wouldn't overdo it. On the set, on the interaction in the street, but also on texting, because then it looks like an interview. You look a bit needy, right? So you can ask just maybe one question and then you make some assumptions, right? So if she's saying, I don't know, I'm going to sleep, or I'm watching series, then you make assumptions, right? I suppose that means you are wrapped in your blanket, watching a romance series and gossiping on TikTok. I don't know. Just make assumptions, right? You want to put her in boxes that she wants to get out of, and that way you have a bit of the conversation going without you sounding like a needy guy asking question. Okay? So that could be it. So you have first message that you send the girl, which is usually 2-3 hours after the meet. Okay? You send her a first message. Hello, girl that told me, or hello, girl that studies marketing and loves cats. Whatever you talked in the conversation about, just do a small personalization on the message, and she will probably reply. If not, you can follow up with a photo 2 or 3 days later, right? So you send the first message, she replies, and then you send the photo, even when she replies to, right? So I'm just doing this now. What about you, right? So she replies, I'm doing this, bam. Then you make assumption. Okay, I suppose that means blah, blah, blah. And then she said, haha, yes, whatever. And then boom, date request. Okay, that's the game. He sent, I checked some coffee places that I like. Let's go for a coffee or for a drink. What days are you free, right? Now, there are many ways to date request. It really depends as well on the city that you're in the country that you're in. It could be, more westernized. The girls are more used to these things, or it could be more traditional. So you can adapt these things depending on the culture and the country, right? So for example, the drinks thing. If you are 18, if you're 19, then in the US probably is not. It depends what you are willing to do, anyways, right? But yeah. Whereas, for example, with more traditional girls, usually I do the tea or I do the coffee, right? So you can adapt those things. So then you would get the date. Of course, there are many things I'm not including here because the video would get insanely long. Like there are many things. What happens if she doesn't reply here? How do you follow up here? What happens if she says no to the date? There are so many bifurcations. That's not the word in English, I'm sure. Bifurcaciones in Spanish. But there are many options, right? So, which we cover in the system and in the community, by the way. You can check in the first link in the description. So yeah, that would be it. And then you have the date. Now, for the date, this is the most fun part. I love dates, right? I would say that's the thing that I'm the best at, that I feel the most comfortable in. And in general terms, once I'm able to get a girl on a date, usually I convert, right? I convert that date into intimacy. Now, not necessarily the first date, but that girl I end up converting, right? Because I know the things to do, what routines to have. And I didn't know this in the beginning. I just learned through it, through mistakes and through saying things that, I was seeing the reactions of the girls and, they were not very attracted to certain things, right? I would say one of the reasons why I was able to get this amount of results in this short time frame is because I've always been quite good at interpreting emotions, if that makes sense. Like my IQ wasn't the best, but my EQ, so my emotional intelligence, I would say is decent, is good. So I'm able to notice small expressions in the girls' faces every time I'm seeing this line, I'm saying this line, or I'm talking about this story. I'm noticing how this story makes her feel, if she crosses her legs or she doesn't, if she's getting wet or not, right? I can feel these things, and then I iterate. And after 411 dates, you have like a big pool of reference experiences of the things that you've said that have generated certain emotions and certain feelings with these girls, right? So you start analyzing those patterns, right? And building and refining the date system. So yeah, you want to have some things, again, in the date, the same thing as we did with the approach, you still want to have some things prepared. The good thing about the date is you don't have that much pressure, because in the street, you just approach her and she's probably leaving or she's in a hurry or something, right? So you need to kind of close the contact fairly quickly. Of course, there are exceptions. You can do instant date with some girls, blah, blah. But in the date, she's already committing to it, at least for 1 hour, let's say. Most of the time, it's more time. So you don't need to rush. Right? So on the date, sometimes, and you can test this out, by the way, gentlemen, you can just be silent for literally 10, 15, 20 seconds looking at her straight in the eye. Sometimes I even go for 1-2 minutes. And with these Eastern girls, the more traditional ones, they don't even say anything. American girls, if you shut up, they will feel the need to feel the silences, so they will start talking. But with some other girls, they just don't feel a need. So the date is fully silent. I am literally like this, looking at them, looking away, right? This happens many times. So yeah, you don't have the pressure on the dates, basically, right? But still, you're going to have some routine, some system, some things that you're saying to the girls, some structure to the date, some ways to build trust. You can have photo routines. You can have apartment routines, which again, I want to keep this video kind of short, but you want to have something in the date that you just follow. And again, you can focus on how you are looking at her, on how are you touching her leg, right? In what way you are escalating step by step and not going uncalibrated, right? You have different ways of talking to different girls depending on what you're feeling their situation is, right? If the girl has, you think has been with many guys, or if she hasn't, what's the culture? Does she have a strong dad, or she doesn't, and their parents are split up? Like, there are so many variables, but it's very fun, gentlemen. It's very fun. So yeah, and then you have the pulling routine, the physical escalation. Where are you taking her after the date? I usually recommend going for coffee. Don't go for restaurants. Don't go for food first date. Go for coffee, go for tea. Don't take her to a club first. Like, these are obvious things, but I'm surprised because some of you actually take her for restaurant, you spend more money. I think I made a Twitter post some time ago. Now I kind of got a sensitive content label on Twitter, so basically everything is done. But which is interesting because I'm not posting any sensitive content. I'm just saying the truth. Without any... Anyways, let's just not talk about that. But what was I talking about? Yeah, so I posted a video on Twitter. I think it was like on January 2026. Yeah, January it was. Talking about how much money I've spent on all of these dates, right? By then I think it was like 384 dates, something like that. And the average date spent, I think it was like $5. I spent on average like $5 a date, $7. And of course I learned from my mistakes. Initially I was spending like a lot more. I was spending, I don't know, like $50, 50 euros, so like $60 inviting the girl for dinner. And I wasn't getting any results, which is interesting. And now spending way less, I get way more results, right? So you need to spend money. Again, this comes from limiting beliefs. Sometimes you think, okay, yeah, I need to spend money so the girl thinks I have money, blah, blah, blah. That's not the right mindset to come, right? Sometimes I would do it on a date, right? But I already know that I don't need to do it because I already got results without having the money, right? And without spending the money with girls. So where are you pulling the girls to? Ideally, your own place, right? That you have pimped out, which that's another term on its own. Yeah, in the beginning, I didn't have any place to pull the girls to. I was struggling really for 2-3 months until me and my wing, one of my friends, we rented a storage room for $75 a month each. So $150 a month. Well, actually euros, so a bit more. And we pimped the storage room and we were pulling girls there. And I've shared this storage room on my Twitter and everything is there. But you don't need to be rich, gentlemen. And of course, this wasn't great. Imagine like a storage room filled with cockroaches. That's not great, okay? But still, I pulled some girls and I got intimate with many girls there. The same with my friend. He was getting good results there. So yeah, think outside the box, right? And if you don't have logistics, which I would say most of you maybe have logistics, then that's a blessing, okay? Okay, so did we cover everything? Oh, well, then we have the kind of the last part, which is once you have been intimate with a girl, how do you keep her? How do you manage multiple relationships if that's what you want? How do you make her respect you? How do you hold your frame, basically, right? Which that's an entire different topic on its own. But the thing is, I'm realistic here. Most of you, if you're watching this video, you are struggling to get intimate. Not only with girls, but with the girls that you really like, which is the first step. And once you've done that, then you can think about how do you keep many girls at the same time. But you should not be worrying about future problems today. if that makes sense. Okay. So yeah, I remind you have first link in description, northdating.com. You can check there the free PDF system, breaking this down. And yeah, let me know if you like these videos. Raw talk, no edition, and I could make more of this. And yeah, gentlemen, hope you have a lovely day. Subscribe if you like these videos. Let me know in the comments. Take care. Let's approach girls. Let's change your life. Keep in mind that, again, if your pain point is not high enough, right? If you don't believe this is urgent, which you won't believe if you are emptying your fluids and watching things, then you're not going to take action. Because this requires courage. And it requires you being tired of not getting girls. But if you do this, or you go into entertainment all of the time, that pain fades. You avoid the pain and you don't take action. Use that to take action, meet people that are in your same situation, team up, push each other, go out, change your lives. Again, gentlemen, I was there just 2 years ago. It's so recent for me. The other people are talking about, the last 10 years, I've been mastering this. I want results fast. I go to someone that has gotten great results fast. As simple as that. Okay? Gentlemen, see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.